buying 45 tons of produce from indigenous farmers, school meals that cost less than $1, and a digitalized map of community food sources. All these are related to the concept of social safety nets. Social safety nets function in the same way that literal safety nets do. They are there to catch you if you fall and reduce the chances that you will get hurt. Social safety nets protect the most vulnerable people in times of need. Common examples are emergency food relief during disasters, cash transfers for the poor, feeding programs, and small loans for people too poor to borrow from a bank. Social safety nets are there to save people from the worst effects of poverty, and more importantly, to give them the ability to get back up and stand on their own feet. In the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or BARM, poverty incidence stands at 63%. Thus, social safety nets make a huge difference in this region. Across the region, the pandemic also impacted on children's nutrition. One safety net deployed by the BARM government was a school feeding program. They procured food commodities from local farmers and fishers, then combined these with iron-fortified rice to create meals for 160,000 children for over 120 feeding days, all at the cost of less than $1 per meal. This effort was made to not only to reduce malnutrition in the region, but also to support the livelihood of local smallholder farmers. In North Cotabato, the provincial government purchased 45 tons of harvested crops from the indigenous Manobo community at the fair market value. This reduced the impact of the pandemic on the indigenous farmers. Furthermore, these crops were distributed to 15,000 persons with disabilities and to 75,800 single parents, most of whom were adversely affected by the pandemic. At the same time, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, or FAO, is working with the Department of Social Welfare and Development to create a digitalized mapping system of food sources. This tool makes it easier for community-based initiatives and feeding programs to locate and identify local food sources for their activities. The COVID-19 pandemic laid bare the vulnerabilities in our food systems and set back progress that we have made towards achieving the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. It exposed the flaws in the way we produce, transport, and consume food. It showed us that our current food systems do not adequately protect the poor and marginalized. If we are to meet the SDGs by 2030, if we are to survive the challenges of pandemic, conflicts, and climate change, and more importantly, if we are to improve the lives of everyone on the planet, our food systems need to be transformed. The United Nations recognizes that social safety nets are a big part of this transformation. Social safety nets protect the livelihoods of farmers and fishers during times of crisis and help ensure that people continue to have access to adequate and nutritious food. The social safety nets deployed across BARM carry with them the seeds of this much-needed food systems transformation. There are many more initiatives like these, some big, some small. Some take the direct approach, such as food for work programs and cash transfers. Others are more focused on creating more resilient livelihoods, while others provide information and tools for capacity building and recovery. All these efforts combine to provide much-needed protection for families in BARM and in the rest of the country. Protection from the threats of disease, conflict, and climate change. Protection from poverty and food insecurity. And assurance that whatever setbacks they may experience, they can and will rise again.